Okay, so in the last video, we looked at how you can make an introduction graphic using Adobe Express. We're going to build on that now and make an introduction video. These are great for short, sharp videos that you want to make to quickly explain a subject or to introduce an assessment task. Let's get into it. So again, we're at our Adobe Express homepage, and we're going to start with the big blue plus button. And again, we can scroll down all these options and I'm going to create video. Perfect. Now you'll see the layout is really similar to what we had with the graphics, but we've got this timeline just down the bottom here. And that means that we can add in chunks of video as well as our text and photos as well. So let's start out by adding media, and we can search for photos, videos, and audio, so we can add some royalty-free audio or record your voiceover. Let's start off by putting in a video about learning that I can introduce one of my Cert 4 TAE subjects, and I'm going to use this little animated one here. We can preview what it looks like, and there we go. That's great. That's a good way to start my introduction. Now, I also want to add some other elements because I want my students to know who their teacher is when they click on this video. So again, we're going to go to media and I'm going to upload my photo. I'm going to just use the same one here, and I can do the same thing that we did with the graphic. So I can move it around to where I want it to be in that screen and use my magical remove background button over here. There's lots of things that you can do with any element that you want to add into this video. I can add a quick animation to this. So I might want to slide in, and I'm going to slide in from the left side. The looping functions these can be a little bit distracting sometimes, but let's do it on breathe. So it just kind of like pulsates a little bit. Let's bring it right down, and that's going to just give it a little bit of movement there. And then I can slide back out. So it's got an animation to come in, an animation while it's there, and then an animation on the way out. I tend to just have the ones for entry and exit. Let's have a look at this. Here we go. That's me. Great. Excellent. What else do we need for this? Let's have a bit of text. Now I'm going to be speaking over the top of this, so I don't need too much text on this screen. So I'll just say, welcome to designing learning. Great. Again, I can be changing our fonts to whatever we want it to be. I've got my CIT branded fonts loaded there. And again, I'm going to put one of my CIT branded colors there too. Now, again, I don't want to go too crazy with the animations, but just as a way of demonstrating, I can have these things appear. I like it. Probably fade is a nice one to use. So let's go with a couple of these animations here. So how can I adjust some of these elements? When I click on the image of me, I can sort of drag that. If I want to sort of come in a little bit later, I can adjust that so I've got more space on the background. I'm going to click on my text, and maybe I want to wait until I've actually introduced what the class is called before that text comes on the screen. So I can shorten that down as well. So if we play this bit of footage, here we go. And then those things disappear according to that timeline down the bottom. Perfect. So I can then add another scene where maybe this time I will just add a photo. Let's talk about assessment. Great. So this one's just a really simple slide that shows a photo and a bit of that text. And then what we can do next is along our timeline, we can just keep adding in scenes. You don't want to make it too long, but I'll just add in one more slide where I can upload an image from my device. And in this one, I'm going to go and add in my graphic that I've previously made in Adobe Express that explains the different assessments. And I can then briefly explain this. Okay, so now let's add a bit of voiceover. And that's also going to help me figure out how long each of those little scenes needs to be. So I'm going to add media, I'm on audio, record voiceover, and when I click start, it'll count me in. Hi, my name's Bernie and welcome to this subject, Designing Learning. Great. I can adjust the volume there, but I can see that it's given me that little voiceover as 5.3 seconds there, which means I can kind of shorten my visuals down to fit that. Great. And let's head to the next section. I'll just move the playhead to where we need to be. And let's start another little chunk of audio. Across all of these weeks, I'm going to take you through all of the learning activities you need. Okay, so that one ran a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do is I can stretch out my scene to match the audio. Great. And now let's do a little last chunk at the end to talk about assessments. Have a look on eLearn to see the 4 different assessments that you need to complete this course. Great. And again, we just stretch that out for however long it needs to be. Maybe I'll just put a last little scene at the end saying thanks and see you in class. But essentially now we can see on the timeline, we've got those little sections all together to make one video. Let's now play it through. Hi, my name's Bernie and welcome to this subject, Designing Learning. Across all of these weeks, I'm going to take you through all of the learning activities you need. Have a look on eLearn to see the 4 different assessments that you need to complete this course. Great. And then you can also just drag and drop these. If you want to change the order and you want to start to talk about assessments here, you can do that. You can just lift it, drag it, place it wherever you want, and add as you go. Now you've got all the same functions that we had on the graphics layout here. So we can do things like resize it. If you want to make it more of a phone dimensions kind of video, you can change anything you like there to resize. And also over here, again, you can make another page and duplicate that. You can make more graphics there. And again, if I want to bring in something that I've made in another part of Adobe Express, I can either add in, I've got my logos here, I'll add one of those in. Or I could add in a graphic that I've created somewhere else in Adobe Express. Great. Same as with graphics, once you're done, you can just click download and it's going to save that to your downloads folder and then you can upload it into Ella.